That was a very good one. I hope we all enjoyed ourselves. Okay. At this point, we invite Mr. Marco Wombo to give us our keynote speech. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Marco Wewom. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. Okay, we're waiting for the keynote and then we can start. First of all, what I want to say is thank you so much for the last few days I spent at my guest family here. I was very lucky to have a great Ghanaian guest family who supported me in many ways and also led me to some attractions and tasted some amazing fufu, amazing jollof. And I mean, it was a bit dangerous, right? Because I knew it's gonna hurt myself a little bit, but I did it anyways. I was brave to try the Ghanaian food. So now I have a tummy ache. But I think everything is fine. Yeah, but that's how it is. I mean, sometimes you have to try out things. You have to be brave. You have to try something even if it's not well for your stomach. But anyways, yesterday I had the honor to visit a very nice museum. I think you all know it. It is the Museum of the former president of Ghana, Nkrumah. Do I pronounce that right? Yes. I was very inspired. He was a cool man. He was not even reuniting Ghana and freed them from colonialism. He also did a lot, like all the infrastructure, the harbors, the airports, the roads. That was insane. And this thought led me to another one. They're not only leaders on the governmental basis, there's also a leader of each of us here in this room. We all can be leaders. I mean, I look in the eyes of entrepreneurs and brave entrepreneurs that are willing to become a leader in their region, country, or even in the world. What does it mean to be a leader? A leader is somebody that has the willingness to risk something. And this leads me to my first very important sentence. We need more leaders. We need more leaders, and this is important because we want to support sustainability, impact. All of that cannot be happening by good community and good leaders. What does it need to be a leader? To have ownership. To be an entrepreneur, it means that you take things personal. Because everything you do, everything you burn for is personal. You own it. It's yours. It is your idea. It is your subject. And you try to change something, and it's not going to be easy. There's going to be fear of rejection, right? I mean, all of us had this kind of fear of rejection. And I thought, yes, we all face rejection, but how often? Let's try to get rejected more often. Let's try to get rejected more often, yes, because that can help us to get used to it. And also to say a very magical word. Because what happens as an entrepreneur if your customer doesn't like your product? What do you say? Okay, I'm sorry, then we will never see you again. No, you ask this one very important word. And for me, it works like a miracle. It is why. And people have not the courage sometimes to ask why. Why don't you like that? Why are you not attracted to my product? Why is that the case? Why don't you have time? And it works miracles because sometimes people are willing to share why that's the case. And then you can react on that. Maybe you can even turn it around and make somebody a beloved customer. The second sentence that is really important for me, and I was very happy listening to the last speakers, because it is clear that we need African innovations to solve world problems. Why? Why is this the case? We need African innovations to solve world problems. What is there in the world that needs to be solved? I mean, we are in a world right now where there is climate change, there's loss of biodiversity, there's plastic pollution, there's social problems. All of those things are happening right now, and even though we have leaders that maybe deny that or make it more difficult. That's why we have to stand as a community and trust our leaders to bring African innovation forward. How can African innovation help with that? I mean, Emmanuel already did that and talked about it. It's not a lie that African society has 1.35 billion people. 70% of all of them are under the age of 24. You have the youngest society. You have not only the youngest society, you also have the biggest intention to be a founder society. The number in South Africa is over 85% of all those people I was talking about have the intention to be an entrepreneur. And when I was traveling around Africa, I was a lot in Rwanda and Tanzania. I met many African startups that had something different. And I don't know, maybe you can help me with that, what it is exactly, but I call it the entrepreneurship gene. Maybe that's a hypothesis, obviously, but maybe because in the equatorial line, the biggest, the most tremendous outcome of climate change is happening. So the hypothesis is the ones that have the greatest problems have the best solutions. And I think this willingness to turn it around and to make African innovation to solve worldwide problems is something that I confronted a lot in Africa. Above that, you all know, do you know the word leapfrogging? Have you heard of it? Leapfrogging? Like you skip innovations, right? You skip paradigms. And that's really cool. Like I grew up with 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, and it was always a mess to delete the innovation beforehand and then start a new one, right? You have to change the infrastructure to get to the next innovation. And one of the biggest opportunities when I talk to investors in Africa is that you have really the chance to implement infrastructures on a very innovative level. When I was in Rwanda, they have 4G internet everywhere. And In Germany, in the train, you don't have it at all. Like you have a big problem still because it's still transforming. And there's a misconception. There's a big misconception about Africa has innovation. When I talk to investors and they say, what do you mean they do AI? Of course, we have a lot of innovative startups here around, and people don't see that. So the very smart question would be, how can you invest in something that you don't know? So there needs to be someone who builds bridges, right? We have to connect, we have to matchmake. Because if we don't matchmake, people don't know about it. And that's something that I learned throughout my journey. I think it's a very powerful sentence if you think about it, that we have more similarities than we actually think we have. What does it mean? If we want to work and work together as a global society, not only concentrate on the region or the country, rather be worldwide or at least Pan-African, what I learned yesterday in the museum, right? It is important to come together as people and not as necessarily regions. So let's try to find similarities rather than differences. And I think that's something important, at least from my point of view, that if you find that we have the same value, we have the same vision, we have the same expectations, we have the same way of doing business. Maybe we are both Muslims and we understand that there's a different way of doing investment. If we find those similarities, it is a foundation to make business together. And that's something that we believe in Earthmates very much, that you have to find similarities and then to have then a very great business opportunities. Why is it important to support impact startups or like sustainable startups? We talked about the worldwide problems, right? But there's one theory that I would like to share with you. It's the one about the Stockholm Resilience Center has the SDGs. There's 17 goals that the UN declared once upon a time, 2015, I think. And those SDGs are, in a nutshell, the biosphere, so ecology, there's a society, and then there's the economy. But if you think about it, those are circles. So you basically have the biosphere as the world, which in the society lives in, which in the business lives in. So the business cannot exist without a society, and the society cannot exist without the ecology. That's why it's important that the business entrepreneurs get to an impact entrepreneurs, because they are smart and conscious about their surroundings, and they're smart and conscious about that if this world falls apart by climate change, for instance, there's no society or no business that we can do. Yes, and I mean, what else do we have in common? It's a dream of a better tomorrow. Maybe that's something I would say in a nutshell, right? I mean, if I meet people from different countries, from different regions, we express our dreams differently. But in the end, if you put it like to a very like oil, you know, like you press it and then there's like one important drop. It's always the dream of creating a better tomorrow for the family, for yourself, for the surroundings. It doesn't matter. In the end, it's impact entrepreneurship that really does something about it. So my next statement is, we should all become Earthmates. Earthmates means becoming friend of the earth. Because we are Earthmates. This is something we have in common. So Earthmates is a startup of ours. I was lucky enough to implement the idea only 1 year ago, so it's very fresh, actually. I was lucky enough to meet Jacobo, one of my CTOs, and he's from Italy, and he does an amazing job with Felipe and Francesco from Brazil and Italy too. I have the luck to know Mohammed Karsan, who comes from Tanzania, who's my co-founder, who lives in Rwanda, in Kigali, and he does an amazing job leading the startups from Africa, and he's the one that really is matching with me on a greater basis because I'm responsible for the investors. He is responsible for the startups. Sorry. And then we have Daniel, who is from Nigeria, who is our community manager. We have Ali Dikba from Nigeria as well, who's our designer. And we have a nice team that is the match itself. Because it's important, at least from my side again, to become international companies. To think about, okay, what if I come together with somebody that maybe is not from my culture, but because of diversity, we have the chance to build something greater than just alone. So you're very welcome. Can you go one slide back? So you're very welcome to scan the code. This is our website. This is actually our launch. We want to have great experiences. And we already have also a Ghanaian German investor that is very important for us as an advisor as well. And what is something that I should explain maybe a little bit more is Earthmates is a matching between global investors on the one hand and impact startups from Africa on the other hand. But not only on the basis of like funding criteria. Of course, money is important, but it's not everything. And that's connected to what we think we have. That's why the algorithm works on the basis of soft criteria. It's important to have shared values, shared expectations, shared visions. And this is something that we do with Mates. We match those stakeholders. Above that, we also match founders with founders in terms of the Pan-African idea, because we believe if you're a startup and you do social tech, there is 100% another startup that does social tech, maybe even has the same idea in Botswana, or in Tanzania, or in Egypt. We don't know. So if you match those people as well, they might become co-founders, or they can learn from each other on a greater way. And this is something that is very important for me. We are continuously looking for the greatest startups in Africa, the greatest impact startups that really dedicate their work to become better and to show similarities. And those startups have the opportunity here to scan the code. It's a call for application also for the investors that are watching right now. We are trying to get the startups from Africa to then match them with you investors. We already have hundreds of investors in our pipeline. We have more than 3,000 startups already in our pipeline from all across Africa. And we are building a community of African founders that because you can only get knowledge when you share it. You can only know if you clear up the unknown. So let's try to clear that up. People have the feeling, especially in the Western world, Africa investment is risky and dangerous, but only because they don't know. So let us make them know. Applaud with me and make some noise, because if we work as a community, we will be heard. Thank you. Oh, yes, of course. 100%, sorry. I wanted to go already. Yeah, do you have any questions, anything to say? Maybe you don't agree with the statements, I don't know.
Yes. So my name is Joseph Oredu. I'm in the startup ecosystem. And I wanted to know if you usually organize any regular events, webinars, is it in person, virtuals? How does that look like?
So to wrap it up again, if you might not heard him, you basically ask if there are other events and if I'm doing this more often, like what we do today. Yes and no. This is my first time doing a keynote in an African country, so I'm very pleased to be here today. But and that's something I actually want to say later on. But if you are a startup and you want to apply, there's something going on in the end of this year. Because, of course, you have to make good experiences, right? That's everything that is like in between is creating good experiences. So there are events needed. We need events in order to make good experiences. And there is an event in Berlin on the 7th of November. Startups that are on the highest rank of the call of application will be invited and fully financed to come to Berlin and to showcase their innovation, because I think it's super important that we show the Western world, especially in Germany, what is African innovation, how does it look like, make it tangible, and create good experiences. But of course, we also have live events on the. Somebody else?
Thank you. My name is Victor Chikotete.
Hi.
Wonderful initiative that you have here. But in terms of the startups that you are looking at, are you sector agnostic or you have?
That's a very nice question, though. I mean, I was talking just about impact startups, but of course, there's so many sectors, there's so many different issues and problems to fight against. And our focus is impact. If you look at the statistics, 90% of all African startups are tech startups. So we're really much looking also, especially into tech startups, because it's more easy to invest in tech startups than in other kind of startups. What we realized that the greatest, let's say, the greatest startups that we have are the third one that we have is also health tech, very important. But there's also match tech, which most people don't come up with. And there's a lot of plastic startups as well, like clean tech startups are really important because you can do a lot by recycling and by tracking. Did I answer your question? Yes? Who else wants to make a question?
Yeah, my name is Olufu from ATR. I want to know how one can connect with you or not.
So what is the process if somebody wants to connect with me, right? I got it wrong? All right. Okay. Especially anyways, after the event. If you're a startup, the easiest way is to do the application. Guys, maybe you can also, guys, on the Technic. Go to the first page, please. Yeah, this is my LinkedIn account. I'm very much reachable on LinkedIn. I do everything on LinkedIn. I share postings about capital efficiency, investment, about interviews with startups that I have, approaches, how we can bring people together. And I think that's the easiest way. Above that, everybody who wants to have like a longer chat, we can even explore that after the event, I would say. Any other question? Okay. Then, it was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Marco. At this point, we'll have a short word from Reverend Emmanuel Gida Asando, a word or two. Please, is he in our midst? Okay.
Congrats to Mr. Frimpong and the team for this good and great innovation. And we as hoteliers, we are also here to look at how best we can collaborate to make sure that this initiative, all of us will come on board to help. Mr. Frimpong has been our friend and colleague, and if he's coming out with this kind of collaboration, we as Ghana Progressive Hotels Association will be connecting with them, and we say, may God really bless all of us for the success of this initiative. And we will also try our best to connect on the, some of our members are set up, some are small. So we'll see how best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And we'll have another word from Mr. Samuel Donko, the president of ATAS. Sir, please, if you are here, kindly step up. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of ATAS, the Association of Tourist Attractions and Sites, we wish to commend the organizers of this event. I feel highly honored to be given this opportunity to make a statement on behalf of the association. I'll start by stating the obvious that Ghana has a huge tourism potential that, when developed or harnessed, can resolve most of the potential perennial economic problems we have, as well as create employment and also help develop communities in the rural areas where the tourism resources are located. In Ghana, each of the 16 regions has a unique tourism resources. But the problem we have, or the challenge we have, is that tourism seems to be over-centralized in Ghana. We need, if we want to take a full advantage of our tourism resources, we will need to decentralize tourism development. By that, what I mean is that international best practices show that most countries that have developed the tourism resources have some form of decentralization, such that each region takes responsibility for its tourism development. In Ghana, like the head of the Ministry of Tourism, Ghana Tourism Authority, and then the private sector, that all follows. But if we want to take full advantage of our tourism resources, we need to decentralize so that regions will take responsibility for their own tourism resources. To conclude, we at ATAS believe that this workshop couldn't have come at a better time. We will collaborate with ATRN and EarthMeets to create a enabling environment and a conducive atmosphere for our members. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. At this point, we take greetings from the Ghana Tourism Federation and we invite Mr. Kweku Pasa Senior, the Vice President. Sir, please, if you are here, can we have you upstage? Thank you, sir.
Ago, Ago, Ago. Knowledge is not static and is available to be acquired as and when you want it. We thank Mr. Frempong and his team for organizing this. Personally, I've learned a lot, and I'm sure we'll take it up and then we'll take it up and then work with him. But I live in Dodowa, and when I go out and I see a lot of young boys, 10 here, you don't know what they are talking about. 2 here, you don't know how they are in groups. And then I tell whoever I be working with that, hey, we are going to have problem in the near future if we don't find something for these young men to do. And most of them also have very bright ideas. So, Mr. Frempong, we are very grateful for this privilege, and I will make sure that we put it to use. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We move straight to the Medical Tourism Council, and we want Dr. Kobisechi. He doubles up to be the president of Africa Medical Tourism and the CEO of the Britannia Medical Center. Sir, you're welcome.
I'm trying to reduce your time in introduction. Well, thank you very much, and thanks very much to Emmanuel for inviting us. The African Medical Tourism Council is a group of tour professionals and medical people that basically are trying to promote medical tourism. And I'm delighted by this new opportunity and this new venture that the ATRN is embarking on. But there are 2 things that I want to challenge you with, both Emmanuel and Marco. So I'm also part of Rotary Club. And one of the things I see in all of these opportunities for development that we have, and there's a lot of speakers have talked about the great ideas that Africans have and the great opportunities because of the great need we have in our countries. But how do you solve the problem? I see in Rotary that sometimes we have a great idea, but raising funding for it is a problem because proposal writing is a big problem here. So I would suggest that as part of what ATRM does, please set up a system that support people that want to get things done, that they understand how to access funding from the impact investors. No investor would just come and talk to you because you'd express a need. You must give them a bankable idea and makes them understand that indeed your idea is something that will flourish, help the society, and also maybe help you. A lot of what we do, both the hospital that I am head of, Ginger, which is an online healthcare company, AMTC, all of these things we do are social impact concept. We are not driven necessarily by finance. We are driven by making a social impact. And a lot of us here have the same idea, doing something that helps the society. But unless we can speak the language on how to communicate with investors in a way that they understand the wisdom of what we are saying and how what we are requesting for can impact our societies. There are a lot of funding agencies that have money sitting there for free access because we don't have the skills to access them. So what I think ATRM should do is to ensure that that system or a program or an office that supports businesses that have good ideas but don't know how to access good funding. I'm not talking about ideas, we have them. I'm talking about proposals, writing proposal, putting together documents that allow you to be able to present a bankable idea to an investor that gets his attention. I think that's what we should focus on. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I move straight to the Scout Club, and I will have the president. Let's welcome Madame Vivian Abe.
Oh, just to buttress what my fellow Rotarian said. Yes, we are all in the service industry. SCAL is a friendship club. doing business and connecting globally for tourism. And from all that has been said, it's all about education and how you position and work your mind to reach your goal. The youth of today need a lot of direction. There's so much you can do, but don't jump to that. I heard that there's something in November, so everybody is going to jump into travel. No, you have to assess yourself, find your true in being, what you want to be, and with investments and everything, it opens doors, it's creating doors, it's bridging the gap in infrastructure and everything for us. But it depends on us in our country as we tap into investment, how we want to use it and for the betterment of yourself and the country. Today, investment in tourism is a mega thing because tourism is the in thing, is the talk of the day today, and it's helping countries with their GDPs and everything. For us here in tourism, we are not competitors in the different sectors you find in tourism. We have to complement ourselves without being hoteliers, without the travel agents bringing passengers in. The hoteliers will not have customers. So we are not in competition. That is something that we have to defer and clear from our minds, that we are not competitors. We are complementing each other. In so doing, we become united and will give better service in the industry. And the way we do things, investment, don't think of the end product of the riches. The riches will come if you do the right things, right time and everything. Then you have a solid base of whatever you are working for, and then the riches that you expect will come. Don't learn to run before you start to walk. So you have to walk the lines, do the right thing, put things in perspective, and then you go step by step to align. We are not a unit globally. So whatever we are doing, we have to always think of the global concept, that we are aligning ourselves with global changes and what is taking place, so that our tourism, and for your country to be a destination of choice, you have to do things right. In certain countries, people go there because of the way they serve, their sanitation, cleanliness and everything. All this is embodied in tourism and everything, really, not only tourism, but in our whole lives. So I have enjoyed this. It's nice to have this forum, and the time is now. Whether you are tapping you write a good proposal for your money to come through to you, you must be focused that you are leaving a legacy for yourself, that you had this innovation, put it into practice, and you've done it. Somebody is going to also build on it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. At this point, we'll watch a short video about Ghana. So enjoy. Thank you.
Welcome to Ghana. Go beyond the return to a home of a rich cultural heritage, where nature is incredible. Adventure is everywhere, and the people are warm. Go beyond to a home far from home. Visit Ghana. Rich cultural heritage, where nature is incredible. Adventure is everywhere, and the people are warm. Go beyond to a home far from home. Visit Ghana. Welcome to Ghana. Welcome to Ghana. Go beyond the return to a heritage, where nature is incredible.
The number you have called has been disconnected.
Sometimes the
The number you have called has been disconnected. The number you have called has been disconnected.
Sometimes the beauty of African cities cannot be seen unless it is told. My name is
Ago, ago, ago. Once again, thank you for your time. We are almost getting to the end of our engagement this afternoon. The next session is panel discussion. So we are going to have some individuals who have gone through what we are asking others to go through, and we want to look at how they did it, what they did, and then how others can also do it. And of course, some of you are also experienced. We are presidents of organizations, presidents of associations. Some of you are doing different things. So you also have opportunity to make contribution and also ask questions. So I'm going to call I'm just moderating. So I'll call them to come, and then they will help us to actually have this conversation. So I'll call Dr. Kwesi Eisen, Doc, and then Mrs. Odilia and Tiamwa. Then I'll call Marco. I was hoping one of the ladies will sit by me. Okay, so Marco, you can, yes, at the extreme end. And then Janice, please. I think I've done the arrangement very well. Okay, that looks good. Those of you who know me very well, I'm very much women biased. Yes, so I did everything to get more women. It was tough. I don't know why. Maybe Auntie Stella will address that issue, why we don't have too many women stepping up to some of these events. But we are grateful for what we have here. So we are going to have a conversation. It's a chat, and I'm happy none of you, with the exception of Odilia, because of her background as a seasoned journalist, she has a laptop. I don't know what's on the laptop. The rest don't have anything, so it's going to be a conversation. So, but we are happy to have all of you. My name is Emmanuel Frimpong. So before we start, we have just about 20-25 minutes to finish everything.
So please, let's try to be as much as possible. Let's be snappy. So within a minute or two, I'm going to go around with all of you. You tell us who you are and where have you been, and where are you going with what you are doing.
So my name is Odia Ntiamwa. I used to be a journalist, like Frimpong said. I used to head the business department of the multimedia group as head of business. Haven't been there for a while. I noticed that there was a huge gap. Every time you wanted to interview business owners, when you take 10 business owners you wanted to interview, you will have 9.5 of them being men. The half man is actually waiting for a woman to just give up their opportunity so that they can quickly jump into it. So, having worked in the managerial role for 5 years, I stepped out in 2022 and then I started this project. We currently have, it's a project that supports women-led businesses across Africa. So we currently have 3,500 women-led businesses signed up on our network, and they are coming from about 37 African countries. Ghana has the largest, of course, because we started the project from here, but we currently have done over 30 to 35 in-person and online training. Every time we take a look at about 100 women-led businesses online, and then of course, because our hub is not that large, we do trainings for women-led businesses, looking at about a number of about 50 women. We have collected a lot of data, so almost everything we do is data-driven. We do nothing without data. Our current data, which was put together by ourselves and the Swiss Embassy, focused on 3 areas. Taking a look at women-led businesses in Ghana, why they really do not access funding from commercial places, why also they are not taking advantage of the Continental Free Trade Area, and of course, exports amongst many other things. And then of course, when it comes to technical support, exactly where are they getting the technical support from? From this research, we have been able to do a couple of things after that to be able to help women-led businesses to become sustainable. One of our latest projects that we're working on is setting up a women investment fund, because the women-led businesses have peculiar needs. Women-led businesses, we did a data collection on 400 women-led businesses, and what we identified was that out of these numbers, the largest numbers were actually not looking for commercial loans, because when you take a look at the economy currently, going for commercial loans is quite risky for a lot of startups. And so women-led businesses don't want commercial loans. They are actually looking for the opportunity to get either grants or some level of impact investing that has like a very little interest rate. So that was one of the things we found out. And based on that, we have started conversations on setting up a women investment fund with real focus on women-led businesses and what really works in the world of women-led businesses.
Awesome. All right. So at least we have some hope here. Here we have some hope. So Doc, how did your journey begin and where are you now?
All right, thank you. May I kindly request that I pass it on, so I do it last since I just spoke.
You didn't tell us where you started off from and why you become an entrepreneur.
Okay, so since you are insistent, let me put a caveat here. Please, I'm a last-minute substitute. I was just told 5 minutes ago that I should step in for my brother Gideon. So forgive me if you don't hear much from me. All right, so where did I start from? I'm a consummate marketing communications practitioner and a consultant. So that's where I started from. But I had passion for tourism. And I remember a few years ago, I was in Kenya, and then in our interaction with some of it was actually Magical Kenya Expo, so I happened to be there. So in our engagements and interactions with the other people from the other countries, I think one expatriate guy from UK asked me, why did I find myself in tourism? And I said, it's as a result of conservation. I have so much passion for conservation and issues on sustainability. As I speak with you now, I am a certified travel life sustainability manager and trainer. So that should tell you a lot about where I'm coming from. So that's how come, I took a deep dive into tourism. And I must say that it's when you are in tourism, it opens your mind, if you like, your spirit, your soul to so many things. Because if you go through literature from the United Nations literature, and you can go online, there's even an aspect of tourism, is tourism for SDGs. You can use tourism to solve almost all the socioeconomic issues that we have. In fact, not almost everything. Earlier on, Marco, right? Marco talked about 17 Sustainable Development Goals. You can actually use tourism to solve all these 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And in my church, I worship at Mount Olivet Methodist Church in Dansoman. We have monthly presentations that we do, and I've become almost a routine presenter at these sessions. And I have a lot of presentation slides on issues on sustainability. And one of them, I touched on using tourism to solve the societal problems, and for that matter, to address sustainable development goals. So it tells you where I am going. But because you asked of my origins, which is the marketing, communications, and advertising, you can literally not separate advertising and marketing communication from tourism. They are bedfellows. Everything that you do must be advertised or marketed in tourism. So I find it very much fulfilling. But you ask me where I am going, because you don't want us to talk much, because if you allow me, I'll talk much. I think where I see myself is a lot more, as you have brought me here. I came here to be a guest of honor. Now I am a panel member. I am doing a lot more thought leadership programs. And that is my way of impacting society and making a difference in societal values. And that's why I find this, the topic for this program, Impact Investment. It's not only about the tangible aspects of investment in terms of funds. The mindset change, the programming of your mind to look a certain way, to become more entrepreneurial, that social entrepreneurship that I talked about earlier on, that is within my DNA. And that's where I am heading towards through thought leadership programs. So all the things that I have studied, I've learned through conferences, programs, such as this. And not too long ago, I was in Madrid. And even though it was an advertising program and a conference, I took the opportunity to be at Santiago Bernabeu, the home grounds of Real Madrid. I'm sure you all do follow football. And Real Madrid is European champions now, club champions now. And I learned a lot at the stadium. What is being done using a stadium at the time that football is not being played. You can see a queue at the stadium of people of all nationalities going into the stadium to do a stadium tour. And then also purchase Real Madrid paraphernalia. It's mind-blowing. Actually, I did, what we call in Ghana a city tour, the hop on, hop off. When we got there and they started telling about the history of Santiago Bernabeu, I said, no, let me just go around and come back again. So I did another 1 hour, came back. This time I got down and then went to the stadium and then experienced all that Real Madrid was doing. And I looked back in Ghana here and I said, oh, Accra Sports Stadium, Baba Yara Stadium, what can we do better?
What can we do better?
So, I told you if you don't stop me, I'll go on and on. So let me just end here. Thank you very much.
Right. So please, just as he said, if I don't say much, pardon me, I'm the baby on the panel. So please pardon me if I don't say much as well. So my name is Janice Tego. I was just talking to Madam Odili at the back, and I was telling her that my transition from corporate into entrepreneurship wasn't something I really planned, but it was as a result of a family tragedy. That as a firstborn, as a female, coming from a middle income family, going to sit in an office with my portfolio to take a certain amount of money wasn't going to help me in any way. So then I had to assess myself. Janice, what can you do best? What kind of experiences have you gained? Because I'm one person who didn't play with all of my internship, my service, trainings, and all of that. So I've worked with quite a number of companies. I'm like, okay, Janice, what can you do best? And back in school, I had hands-on experience with media, marketing, communications. I'm like, okay, then I'm realizing a gap here. Why don't I help, right, for my colleagues? It could even start from peer coaching, because we are in that era where startups, entrepreneurship, everybody's coming up with their own businesses. So why don't you be the person to help them at affordable rates? Because most of these digital companies are charging a lot. When you take their invoices, it's nothing you can pay. So I decided to set up my own digital business solutions company called Janice Digital & Co. And I started from helping my friends how to set up their social media, if it's your website, if it's your complimentary card, production. So basically what I did was to put my colleague friends together, freelancers. And I'm like, okay, guys, I know amongst us, I do best with leading. So I'll be the leader, you be the team members. I go get the clients and we can do the work together. And that's how Janice Digital & Co. began. And as time went on, I realized another gap, that most of us, some of us, we really want to look up to some of you and all that you're doing, but we can't seem to find you anywhere. So I realized there's a problem with online brand reputation management. So part of my company is dedicated to, I call it brand right. Brand right, because we're in an era where everybody's gonna Google and look for you. Who is she? Who is he? What has he been up to? And we've gotten to a point where if you don't even have an online brand, it's like you don't exist. And then the so-called experts are dying out, and the young ones who are taking over social media are being regarded and called the experts. So brand right aims at helping professionals, experts hop onto social media, create a brand for themselves, and showcase what they've been doing and what they've been up to. So basically, that is what I do. Thank you so much.
Wow, I mean, this was already really great. I would love to give a comment to Odira. I really love what you do. I think it's super important as an add-on, because I know the numbers are actually from Germany. Female entrepreneurship is something really important, but it is just, I think, round about 20% in Germany. When I was in Rwanda, it was much more. I don't know the numbers here in Ghana, but I was impressed. And I think that's also an advantage for international investors, because that's something that investors are looking for right now. Female-led startups, at least to have a female in the startup team. It is very important, especially if you have female as customers. I mean, how should you understand them, you know? It is super important, and I know in Rwanda, the government has 60% women. So so it's even more. That's insane. Coming back to me, I mean, you know already what I'm doing and what I've doing. Where this all started was actually my master thesis when I was studying in Milano, and I realized this is a great idea, but I didn't find anybody that could do that with me. So I had all the hope to really find the right people. I think it even started before, and when I was living in Tanzania, because I was actually founding an NGO. In retrospective, even though this NGO was very sustainable, I'm not a big fan of NGOs in total anymore. I think the best way to taught is direct investment to entrepreneurs. This is something that I learned throughout the years. But being in Tanzania, in Mbeya or Yola, I met a lot of people with smart ideas, but they didn't get heard. Nobody knew about their marketing agencies or anything else, and I think that's a pity. Yeah. Where I want to go is to create not even an ecosystem, rather than a movement of investors worldwide that know that Africa is becoming the continent of innovation in the next 20 years. It's like India and China, this all has happened. So I'm always trying to tell the investors, don't miss that out, because it's happening right now. We really want to match investors and startups every single day. It's kind of like, from the look and feel, it should be like a Tinder feeling. So you swipe your investment, and my dream, and I think it's actually very tangible, is to get investment into Africa 1,000 times a day with this platform, and support and educate on that platform as well, like connect them with Odira when it's about female entrepreneurship, connect them with Janice when it's about marketing, connect them with a law firm in that area when it's necessary for them. Technical assistance also very great pain point many African startups face. We have already partners of Nigerian and Gambian companies that are doing CTO as a service, for example. So we connect entrepreneurs with those people as well, and that's very important. So back to you.
Okay, great. So I have a couple of questions, but because of time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give my questions to the audience, give you the opportunity. So I was going to ask all of them about 2 questions. I'm not going to do that. I'll give all the 8 questions I was going to ask, but if you don't ask, I'll take over. So I'm giving you the opportunity to ask any of them, any question. You have 8. Within the next 10 minutes, we should be wrapping up. So if you raise your hand wherever you are, okay, I see. Let me, this one, protocol is my question. So I determine who comes first. So I'll give it to Auntie Stella. Auntie Stella has been one of the people that kept encouraging some of us when we got into tourism and wanted to leave and go and do our own thing. She kept encouraging us. And even this afternoon, she was supposed to be somewhere. She called and sent me a message. Do you need me in person or online? I said, please, I need you in person. And there she is. She said, I was running. So Auntie Stella, please give it to her.
Thank you. My question: why are the women not coming forward? I'm sure you've researched. So I'm interested because I'm a veteran, let me say. So I started, I'm afraid of loans. I hate the letters if it's a bank. You know, that kind of knocking letters and and you're not comfortable. You plan to make a payment and you don't get it. So if you're not careful, so I see a lot of women that I have dealt with stay clear of any, because you never know. If it's a grant, even that confidence, they may not mind the processes, but it's, are you sure? Somewhere along the line, you may have to pay something because your parts and the other parts will make a whole. So I'm interested in the modern day ladies. They have all the, they don't care about owing a bank millions and they can keep on smiling. But for the old school like me, it's like, no, don't do that, you will die early. Thank you very much.
Why are the women not coming forth? What are the challenges?
I think that not a lot has changed. You have a few brave ones taking up like some hefty amounts. So, for example, one of the women in my network took a loan of about $5 million to set up a I think a gas station at a particular location, and then it didn't happen because the community didn't give her the support she needed. She's still walking smiling. So you have so you have a few of such bold ones, but I say that it hasn't changed much, and the women will tell you that the first thing women think about when they think about a loan is family, is reputation, and they would want to protect their family over taking a loan to ruin family reputation. And so that is why I say that there's so many of these MasterCard Foundation funding that has come that I shudder to say that a lot of the banking institutions will not get the women coming to take the facilities because the processes are almost the same as going for the commercial loans. And so they will need to do like a backtrack and sort of investigate why women-led businesses will not take loans in the first place, so that is the point where they start, and not from the fact that once you name it women will run for it. It's just about just changing the name. But once women still hear it is a loan, they take the other way. And so you still have a lot of women who will not go for a loan for their business. They would like to grow organically until they get to a point where they think the injection is really important. I think the alternatives that women-led businesses, if those chances were there, would have been people who will take equity in their business. But that also becomes like another issue in the space, especially from Ghana, where people don't trust equity partnerships. Partnerships is like a general big issue for them. So if we could have those kinds of education, comes back to what Marco said about technical support. If the women really understand why they need to scale up and they need to be able to take some of these facilities, it would perhaps change their perception and all of that. Then, of course, like I said, the cost of credit is mind-blowing. Now you're looking at least from 31% upwards. And if you're starting a business and you have a burden of paying a loan facility of 31%, what's your profit margin? What is your cost? And after doing all of that, can you pay the loan? Definitely a woman won't go for it. So you have the challenges deep-rooted in culture, in upbringing, in gender issues, and of course, in cost of credit.
Can I just add on? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello? Okay, so I'll try to shout. So not too long ago, as part of some of the projects that our company, Passive Solution, is involved in, is financial literacy education. So we had this project in collaboration with Ministry of Finance and then International Finance for Agricultural Development, supported by Italian government. So we did nationwide financial literacy education. And some of these issues came up and they are documented. And in our reports that we submitted, some of these things reflected. One of the findings that came up in those financial literacy education is that you focus a bit more at the macro level. I mean, you mentioned 5 million. Our focus was on the micro, small, and medium scale enterprises, where people need maybe as small as maybe 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 cedis to operate a micro business or small business, and so on and so forth. And some of the issues that came up was that, you see, typically these financial institutions, the banking people, they come fully dressed in this suit and then the tie And it scares them. It scares them because as soon as they see them, they know they are from Odelia's 5 million range. So they don't even want to attempt at all. And these are because the education we did was through market centers and other areas where we have all these women entrepreneurs congregate and then do business. So that's one of them. Apart from that, too, when it comes to risk taking, generally within our cultural setting, there's that kind of risk averseness when it comes to our, women issues. So that's, I'm sure you probably might have encountered. So that's an aspect. But the third thing is also on education. And that was the real focus on our financial literacy education because people were not privy to a lot of investment instruments that the small, micro, small, and medium scale enterprises operators could access. And it's just like it just buttresses the point of Marco's project, the impact investment. So if they get to know some of these things and they know all the bottlenecks that can be addressed and the challenges and the barriers that they can overcome, I'm sure they will step forward. But it's just because some of this is lack of knowledge. So I think, yeah.
Lack of knowledge.
Sorry. So I wanted to correct a perception. We deal with very little businesses up to the very huge businesses. So, for example, Linda owns a business that I will say it's a social enterprise because she gathers about 3,000 women, 1,800 women in the northern part of Ghana. They put together different things from shea butter, mango butter, neem baobab leaves, and all of that. She has her things at the back. And so they deal with very micro businesses and sort of supports them. So whatever she gets from us, she sort of goes back to give to those women as well. Our community is English speaking. I think that's the only thing. But apart from that, there are businesses that make annual turnovers of very little sums as well. Yes.
Thank you very much. I think I saw a hand. Sir, I saw your hand. Okay. If you can, I think there's one here. So I'll take two more because of time. Dr. Kufuor, from him I'll come to you.
Realize that now you have a huge portfolio on LinkedIn, for instance. You have 30,000 followers, right? And so when you're starting, how do you start in building that reputation and sharing with others?
The question to you. Okay, Janice, okay.
Okay, so most of the time when I'm being invited to talk about digital transformation, I always talk about self-analysis first. Looking at what I wanted to do, I'm not a musician, I'm not an artist, I'm not a comedian, I'm none of all of those things that will put you on the spotlight or in the spotlight. So the tool I have is to make use of social media or digital platforms. So building my digital portfolios was intentional. From Instagram, I have 150,000 followers. On LinkedIn, I have, as you were saying, 58,000. Facebook, Twitter. It was intentional that, okay, if I'm going to market and advertise myself and everything that comes, I have to build a brand for myself. And I can't afford to go to TV3 or the others and go and pay 10,000, 20,000 for advertisement or a slot, whilst there's social media. And as you're saying, we are in a part of a world where if you're not dancing or doing funny stuff, your content will not sell. But I'm not on TikTok. Everything is purely educational and I'm growing. So I feel self-analysis first. Know yourself, what you want to get out of it. Now look for the tools and channels that can help you. Hop on it. When you start, people are not going to like it in the beginning. I mean, it got to a point people were like, oh, I'm too corporate, I'm too this, I'm too that. I'm like, that's me. I can't fake it. I can't do all of that stuff. If you put a camera in front of me, I can't dance. I can't do all of that stuff. So what I can do is to share my knowledge. I've had so many experiences out of work. When Auntie Stella asked her question, I wanted to throw something because I did something with the Ghana Exports Promotion. What you asked, most of them it's education, as he said. They don't know, some of them are scared, so many things. So I've trained myself and come to know myself that Janice, this is you, this is what works for you. So be intentional about it. Facebook, Instagram, I'm not even on YouTube. I'm not monetizing directly from the platform, but I'm monetizing out of the project I'm embarking on from all the things I do. You get me? So please, it's going to take time. It will hurt. Sometimes you post, the like will be one, the view will be one, but it takes time. All of this has been for 5 years from school till now. So it takes time to grow all those portfolios. Yes, please.
Right, thank you. So if I may come in here, looking at our industry, that's hospitality and tourism industry, and looking at academia. In fact, the ILO, GIZ are trying to bridge the academia with industry. There's a big gap. There is a big gap. Students finish, and at the end of the day, they are told that they're hands-on, they have problems with it. Now, we are still trying to do that. CTVET is also trying to do more of the hands-on so that the curriculum will be about 60% practically biased and then 40% theoretical. I was happy to see a student here from ATU, okay, hospitality. Now, Delia and my lady, what can you do to build that confidence in a group? Because the entrepreneurship they even do for HND level, the whole 3 years is 1 semester, maximum of 2 semesters of entrepreneurship. What can you do? I mean, to bring up our ladies to be more confident, especially with the tourism sector, hospitality sector, so that they can come together, do their own thing, instead of depending on the industry or depending on a white-collar job. That is what I want to know. Thank you.
Okay, I want to make an input because I went into radio by default. Started off at Radio Universe because somebody just saw me on campus and said, I like your voice. I think you will thrive in radio. And that's where I started. If you ask me, it's not everybody that will start entrepreneurship right after school that will succeed. I will say that it's a combination of many things. My observation is that a lot of young people don't like to serve. You've got to serve to be served. So if you can't serve other people, don't expect that when you start your business, within a space of 5 years, you will get the best of entrepreneurs. I mean, life just has things like that. I feel that the starting point really is entrepreneurship. And you have a lot of the universities writing letters for you to go to institutions to go and learn. In 2008, when I had finished Legon, I finished Legon in 2005, and then went to City FM to do my national service and to work there for some time. By 2008, I stepped out of City FM saying I wanted to start a business. But the point is, I didn't have much. I didn't have the social capital. I didn't have the structures to really run a business. And I didn't have all that was required. So I went back to corporate to work with TV3. In 2016, I tried it again to step out. It still didn't work because I hadn't really built enough reputation to start a business. After 2022, when I stepped out of Joy, I met people that I wanted to do business with, and they said, oh, Delia, we feel that you should have stepped out a bit earlier than you have stepped out now. But they were willing to do business with me now because they think I've got experience, I understand corporate language, and I'll be able to do proper business. I'm not saying that stepping out of university today, you can't start a business. What I'm saying is some level of process is very important for you. A huge level of knowledge is also very important for you. For example, if you don't understand governance, which is a critical part of setting up a business, so that, okay, if you can't get your board currently and paying them, you can start with a team of advisors. You understand? So all of these kinds of structuring, sometimes you can pick some from corporate, sometimes you pick some from even maturing, sometimes you pick some from some places that you just don't have an idea. So even if you want to start right after school, I think it'll be better to combine with someone who has experience more than you. You may not have 100% of the business or share even with the person 50-50. I want to give my last example. Recently, there was some very big woman that has stepped out of corporate. And then I asked her that, hey, I never thought you would step out of corporate. And then she said, I've been staying back and observing you. And I said, when next should I jump? Even as young as Odilia has jumped. Then she said, I want us to team up to start a business together. Listen, I tried doing that particular project last year. It didn't work. Now, started going to meetings with this older woman who has decided to team up with me to do business, and the doors are just opening. And it's because she has more experience than me, and people trust that with her experience, with my enthusiasm, we'll be able to build something. So let us try and build synergies. So some level of synergies will help. It's not all the young people who would have the patience to go through the process, but I think that even if you're not getting older people as partners, get older people as advisors who have been there, seen it, tried it, it hasn't worked, what didn't work, what are you doing that may not work? And then recently I was watching something from Harvard iLabs, and it was sharing on value proposition and the fact that a lot of us start businesses from the point of ideas without really studying the problem of society. So we come up with fantastic ideas, lofty ideas that can't go to the market. So you take it out there, nobody wants to buy. You think it's a fantastic idea, and sometimes you're so passionate about it, you don't want to let go. So finding some level of market research to find what does the market want, and let me provide what the market wants is also like a perfect point to start. Thank you.
So I think I'll take last comment from Dennis, and because of time, me to do this presentation from our young people that they have. So
Okay, so Madam Odilia has spoken on the experience, timing, and season bit. I want to talk about the people or the ladies involved. And the era that we are in is going to take a lot of education and mind transformation, in the sense that some of them don't even know what they have and what they carry. Meanwhile, I've heard lots of experts, professionals say that I started from this point, not even knowing I wanted to do it. Someone just saw me and told me, oh, you look pretty, you speak so eloquently, why don't you get on TV or something? And those people have been in those fields for years. So I feel we've gotten to a point where sometimes let's draw these people to ourselves. If there's something you've seen in them, let them know, give them that little push. I always say with my colleagues, I'm speaking for my colleagues because, yeah, we are peers. Some of them are just too reserved. But when you push them a little bit, there is something they can do. Some of them too are not privileged like some of us who have the exposure that can read, watch stuff here, go here, connect with people and network. And they don't know that, okay, I can do this little stuff. why don't I sit down and do this instead of sending applications all around to all these companies just to look for a single job that even can't cater for you? Not everybody is going to be an entrepreneur though, but if you make them come to this point of understanding, maybe it can be the starting point for them. And you start to cater for themselves. Maybe even if they want to get back into corporates, that becomes a very huge business for them. So let's draw some of them to ourselves and teach them. Some of them don't even know. Some of them are not even aware. I was at a program yesterday. A woman was telling me, she was like, "What do you do?" When I told her, I think she was fascinated. She was like, "Oh, my daughter completed university from 2017 till now. She doesn't have a job, and she has now enrolled in Joyce Abebio to start sewing." I just told myself, "Oh, Janice, then you've been privileged to have known the things you knew to even start that small thing you were doing till now." And how many years has it been? I can also say I have some years of experience, about 4 to 5 of what I'm doing. So I think not all of us are privileged. Um, um, let's do more of the talking and let's fine tune their brains and minds.
Academia should be teaming up with industry, helping the students. Students must be humble enough to go and do the work, cleaning the table. It helps you. You develop yourself. People's development. How to communicate with people. Clean the table, take the plates away, come back and then smile.
Thank you, Auntie Stella Appington, President Emeritus. She's been president of several associations and groups. So, yes, thank you so much, Auntie Stella. Thank you, audience, online audience, and then, okay, I can't, another president is here. He just came back from Ethiopia, and maybe he has some good news, some money that he's ready to release for investment. So I'll give Ras that respect to also make a quick one. Ras.
When me talk to you, listen. When me speak with you, listen. When me reason with you, shakatankan katunk shankantankan tankan shakatankan kan 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 kan. Through wisdom is an house builded, and by overstanding it is established. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we remember the name of the Lord. Yes, we remember the name of a God, Jah Rastafari. Oh, listen. Whoa, 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 whoa. Listen when me talk to you. Listen here. A people without the knowledge of their past, history, origin, and culture is just like a tree with a roots. It's just like a tree with a branches. You know, talking about tourism, I like that we have network, and this is something that I want your organization, because I've sat down for several hours to do proposals on that. I went to Addis Ababa, the African Union Commission, to meet with the leadership of the African Union and also the leadership of the Pan-African Parliament by using music development on the continent. It's precious on government. Now, when people, for example, in Ghana, when people come to Ghana as tourists, they just go Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, the slave castles, few selected places. some few years ago, I sat down and I thought, in Greater Accra alone, we have 16 districts. We have kids who have history of their region. So I did, I'll make it available to you that in 2019 and 2020, me, myself, I traveled 10 regions, in each region. Now, if the organization to spearhead is and dedicate bringing each region with your friend, with your host, before going, send messages to the paramount chief that we want the history of your area. We want locations in the area, the cameras are there. So go and come back, you'll be so pregnant with information that people will not think about coming from Nkrumah Park or the West Center or this in Kakum Park, or we have to know. It's a big it's like a tree without roots. Marcus Garvey says so. And I said, a tree without roots. So we have to spearhead for the investments for the tourism sector. Tourism, culture, arts comes in. All these three tools together, and a lot of businesses will flourish.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I think we will have a quick photograph and then yes, please. Then we are done with the questions because of time. I think you agree with me that we should, yes. So we'll take, who is the main cameraman? Which one should we focus on? Okay. The media, are you here? Thank you. So quickly, I think whilst we are getting the presentation, I think we should, if we can get those 7 to, because people have been sitting for quite too long. Whilst we get the presentations ready, please, if we can, today come here. You should come here. So, help them. Yeah, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Bye. Oh, no. Okay. Come.
Everybody's tired, so we have to get a snack. When we are done, then we go with fresh mind. We are doing right. Oh, it's okay.
Please, we haven't closed though. We haven't closed. We haven't closed. Get your snacks and then sit down. I promise you, there's things we get about it. Then we are done. But let's get some things to sit down.
Don't worry, okay.
Number you have called has been disconnected.